And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. As you guys could probably tell by the title of this video, we're just going to talk about current prices for some of these really cheap modern booster boxes. And yeah, I mean, we thought $83 for Battle Styles was pretty cheap, but we already saw Chill and Rain and now Battle Styles even at 79.95 a piece. And it's funny because literally in my very last stream, I talked about where I get a lot of my booster boxes from is that P Football Pete, whatever XX, whatever his name is on eBay. And next thing I know, I woke up today and everybody, and like this was a topic everybody was talking about, just literally his auctions for both battle styles, but more importantly, Chill and Rain. Because if you think about it, you would always expect a little bit of separation between battle styles and chill and rain prices, and maybe not a lot, but at least like I would say between a $5 to $10 buffer somewhere in between. But I think what's happening now is the price of these booster boxes has just gotten so low. And people like him now, I don't know if you're familiar with him at all, but he's he's based out of Connecticut. There's articles you could look up about his eBay account from like the Hartford Kern and stuff. It's like a local Connecticut newspaper just talking about how, you know, a big eBay account like him does, almost like a little bit over $1 million worth of sales a year. So when you think about $1 million worth of sales, and yeah, it's not just Pokemon, it's he does everything. He does like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon sports. He does all kinds of stuff. But anyways, when you're an eBay store doing over $1 million worth of sales a year, like that makes you a very large store, and that's somebody that has probably like really good distributor pricing. So at that 79.95, he's probably making some money. But one of the uh, auctions I looked at, the Chill and Rain, it was actually one of the sponsored auctions. So you still have to pay a little bit of fees for a sponsored auction. But again, he has, feedback very similar to like a TCA game and where it's in the hundreds of thousands for feedback. So he's probably getting, a better rate through eBay and stuff like that. But with that said, you got to question like, where can some of these really monster people, where can their distributor prices possibly be? Because when you're talking, you can sell a Battle Styles or a Chill and Rain booster box at $80. How much money is really left there on the bone? Like it can't be that much. And I think this is really going to be the true downfall for some of these, people that came in real late to Pokemon, maybe middle 2020, early 2021. They did whatever they could to get distributor agreements, just said, I see all the money that there is in Pokemon. And when I say all the money that there is in Pokemon, I'm talking about modern product for these people who just saw dollars. They were blinded. They ignored the history of Pokemon. They ignored what the market has done in the past. They ignored just, all the hype. They ignored everything that was just bundled up. And we've talked about all this stuff a million times on the channel. We don't got to talk about this all again. You guys know what was involved in Pokemon to bring up all this price. And all these people just came flooding in. They said, if I could get a distributor agreement, I'll do it. I'll sell my soul to get one. That's when a lot of people had that mindset because all they saw was dollar amounts and they were totally blinded. And nobody expected, well, there's a couple things. We didn't expect a lot. And I think that's the crazy thing too, is we talk about Pokemon, we talk about the market, we talk about speculation all the time. And I've said it, small channels like this, we get the liberty to speculate because who cares? Like we can just have conversations. But when you talk about, man, what would have been the perfect storm in order to really kill prices because demand was still really strong. And even right now, demand is still really strong. I went on right before this video and just looked at how many booster boxes he sold today, and it was 144. But actually, that's probably an asterisk because really it's 145 now because I bought one Chill and Rain booster box today at that 79.95 because for me, that's a price point where I feel really comfortable at. Now, if that booster box continues to drop, goes to 75, 70, all I'll have to do is pick up another one and just keep hedging my price down. But, $80 for a Chill and Rain booster box, for me personally, is, very enticing. And these are the points where I've said if prices ever got this low, this is where I think a lot of buying pressure would be. And 145 booster boxes in a day from one seller on eBay, is that a lot? I don't know. And it's hard to get a true gauge of 145 booster boxes for a set that is not really super great or super hyped and surrounded by a lot of, maybe better sets. When you need to think about, would you rather have a Fusion Strike or Chill and Rain? Maybe it's about a 50-50. It's whatever you're feeling that day. But compared to an Evolving Skies, you'd probably take the Evolving Skies. And then compared to maybe some of the Celebration product, maybe Celebration product if people aren't already burned out on Celebration product. But the reason I was saying it's going to kill these people that just came in with and wanted distributor agreements is because there's no way that their price points can be anywhere as close to as low as these people that are able to sell just crazy amount of booster boxes. If you can sell Chill and Rain booster boxes, sell 144 of them in one day, and keep in mind he's one of the largest eBay sellers out there for booster boxes. He's probably sold in the last week to last month, hundreds and hundreds of booster boxes of all these different sets. So he must just get, tractor trailer truckloads of pallets dropped off in his, warehouse or wherever he's keeping his cards, and just, you know, a ton of product. So if his price points getting, his distributor agreement must be great. His price points, like I said, very low. If he has that ability to get all this product, anybody else probably can't compete with these guys. So I think that will be the true killer for a lot of these people, is when they go to compete, they're going to say, holy cow, a Chill and Rain and Battle Styles booster box at $79.99. That is literally lower than my distributor pricing. And their distributor pricing is probably really close to that. But you add in shipping, you add in eBay fees or PayPal fees, or however people are trying to sell this product, they're probably going to have to start selling at a huge major loss, which really bad for LGSs, really bad for people with distributor agreements. I think it's great for us as collectors and investors. And then it brings up the question, it's like, well, is 79.95, is that really the bottom? And it's hard to say. I think we tried to make some arguments for battle styles at the 85. Is that the lowest? 83, is that the lowest? And now 79.95 for battle styles as well as Chill and Rain. Is that the lowest? It's the question of these really big guys, these monster guys, and it's almost, and you can't quote me on this, but again, we speculate on this channel. It seems like these guys are having a little bit of a pissing match between, the lowest price booster boxes on eBay, and there's like two or three really large sellers who are just competing back and forth, and their prices just keep going lower and lower every day. And who knows what the true bottom for this stuff is. And this is the crazy thing, is even with the demand and the hype and everything that came with Pokemon in 2020, 2021, some of these prices are actually much lower than we were able to pick up booster boxes in the past. And you have to really look hard to start to find booster boxes that you could actually pick up truly for like $80. There's only a small handful of them that I could really think of since I've been in the hobby. One of those being Crimson Invasion, one of them being Steam Siege. But to be honest with you, I don't really know if these booster boxes ever went this low because they weren't on my radar. Meaning, let's just say Steam Siege or Crimson Invasion booster box was selling at $80. Honestly, by the point they hit those prices, I wasn't keeping up to date with those booster boxes because I had already been, sick of those things for a long time. So is it possible we saw some of those booster boxes trace lower? I'm going to honestly tell you, I don't know because I don't remember because I wasn't paying attention to them. It's just that simple. I wish I can say like, oh, I remember the exact time and date where, something like this, Chill and Rain and Evolving Skies in 3-4 years from now, with the exception of this video probably still existing somewheres in the archives of YouTube, we won't remember the exact day and time that Chill and Rain and Battle Styles booster boxes creeped below $80. And is it really close to $80 by a nickel? Yeah, it's close, but still it's below 80. And with taxes and everything included, I had that Chill and Rain booster box for at the 79.95 shipped, $85.01 after tax. I mean, that is, in my opinion, again, this is just opinion based. That is like a good price. And you got to ask the question now, are these prices, the lowest we're ever going to see? Or if they keep dropping down? And the reason why I say, are they the lowest we're ever going to see is because eventually these guys who have these gigantic distributor agreements and can get their price points this low, eventually they probably will run out of stock. And this is like the big maybe. And there's got to be a reason that they're liquidating all this stuff at these low prices and not willing to sit on anything. And it could be a huge multitude of reasons. It could be like, you know, overhead debt, just having to pay back all this stuff to the distributors. But assuming the market is still strong enough that we can eat up all this really low price product, I'm not saying you have to eat up all the product, just the stuff that is extremely low price, this sub $80 booster boxes. If the market is able to somehow absorb this, there's going to really be like a strong floor at that, right at distributor level agreement prices. And then all the people that can't even literally get this prices at distributors, the price should start creeping back up. Now, this is the big but, and the big, well, what happens if these guys with huge distributor agreements get restocks again? So now, they have to flood this product onto the market at these sub $80 prices. Well, what happens is if, yeah, the market is still strong enough, we do buy out all this product, like I said, would be required in order for prices to go up. But now, what happens when their huge restocks come? Are we just going to see this continue race to a bottom? And now these guys who are moving over $1 million worth of product a year through multiple product line, multiple revenue streams, like I said, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, sports cards, all this stuff, they can probably run at, not razor thin margins, but margins that are, $1 to a booster box where other people will just not be able to run at those type of margins. But when you have booster boxes having such a low price point and this low floor right now, you have to say, uh-oh, what is this going to mean for literally every other non-premium product? And the reason why I say non-premium products is because I think the more premium sort of products, like, I talked about it last video. We just saw the Jolteon premium collection boxes. There's the Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon, the VMAX alternative art cards. You get 2 in a box plus packs. They hit Pokemon Center like on Monday, I think it was, and they sold out instantly. They weren't even on the Pokemon Center for longer than 30 minutes, but those are the more premium products. But now, what about just your normal V boxes or normal tins, What's going to start to happen to a lot of these products? Because when you look at, say, a tin that has 5 packs in it, and a tin with a promo card, 5 packs sells between $20 to $25. Well, when people will say, well, I could either buy these 3 tins for $75 or this one booster box for $79 and get 76 packs, forget about the promos that are a dime a dozen. You could go on TCG Player and probably pick up any one of those promos for about $1 a piece. People are going to start to weigh out their options of what they want to buy and what they don't want to buy. So it's going to have this potential huge impact on the rest of the market that it's just going to pull down everything that doesn't have that premium sort of, name to it. And things like the ultra premium collections will probably hold off pretty good on this downturn because, yeah, will ultra premium collections pull down? Yes. But will those type of products, in my opinion, ever sell below like the 118 MSRP? No. I think we're so far away from products like that selling on the secondary market below MSRP. But I'm starting to look at a lot of these different products and really saying, I don't know how long these things are going to hold up. And now if we're seeing the real true second and third wave of Chill and Rain and Battle Styles really beat on these prices, I'm wondering what's going to happen with Evolving Skies and then what's going to happen with Fusion Strike. because at least you can say, and this is saying at least at release for battle styles on wave one, booster box prices, there was enough demand to jack that price up to like 160. We saw a very similar thing happen with wave one of Chill and Rain. A lot of demand pumped that booster box prices up to like the 150 mark. But now this is a huge different part of Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike, we never saw that initial run up right at release at wave one. Already at wave one, we're seeing drastic reduction in prices. And I think the only thing keeping Fusion Strike, above that, right around that $100 to between 100 and 110 price point, the only thing keeping it there really strong is the fact that it is the first wave. And the first wave just means people who just like to pick up a booster box or two, add it to their collection, one to open. These people are probably keeping that market up. But this is what's going to be crazy. When wave two of Fusion Strike comes out, when wave three of Fusion Strike comes out, I'm scared to see the third wave of Fusion Strike. Like, I have not bought a Fusion Strike booster box right now yet, and I have no plans on buying one anytime soon because I think we're going to see a real hard price decline for Fusion Strike. And when you look at Chill and Rain, there are a lot of singles in that set that still sell for a decent amount of money. Battle styles, there's a couple, not a lot, really just like two alternative arts, including like the Sleep and Tyranitar. They're still holding a decent price. But when you look at single prices for Fusion Strike, and sure, we talk about this all the time, the price disparity between singles and the sealed product is always not going to be equal. But if the prices for all these singles in Fusion Strike really tank harder than we're already seeing with relatively limited supply, and I say relatively limited because, like I said, it's only like the first wave of this stuff. Wave two is going to come out, prices will drop even more. And then price three, it's going to be a bloodbath. And for me, I'm excited about that. I think we're going to be able to pick up some Fusion Strike in a couple months for pretty cheap prices. And when you think about like how long is it going to take for wave three to come out? And you could start to look at, sets that already have waves, Battle Styles was released in March. It took all the way to December to really get that last true third wave. So, that's about a 9-month timeline. So, Fusion Strike just came out last month. It's still going to take around 9 months until that wave three hits. And if during this 9-month period, Fusion Strike prices just keep going lower and lower and demand keeps continuing to be less and less for this product, like this could line up for a perfect storm. Now, it's a very interesting, very crazy time. And I just wanted to talk about like these prices because, and I've talked about it before. I said, what if we are in a bull trap? And the reason I say a bull trap is people like me and maybe some people like you in the chat who are watching this video saying, is this the definition of a bull trap? Is that we were waiting for prices to crash so we can start to buy in and pick up a lot of this product we had to pass on? And you know what? In 2020, 2021, it was hard to pass on a lot of this stuff. You had to keep just sitting back and saying, man, I really like this new set. I would like to just open up some packs for fun, but I'm not about to, wet my feet in this market at $140+ for a booster box. Like, this is not what I want to do at all. And, there's things that like I have my own personal grudges against, and a lot of people out there when it comes to booster boxes constantly quote the MSRP price of booster box at like $143, $144. And that just makes me so upset because I I don't believe that that is an MSRP. And it, well, really, when you think about it, booster boxes is one of the few products that does not have an MSRP. People love to quote like Pokemon Center and their booster box prices at that $143 mark and say, well, see that? That's a perfect example of how the MSRP is 143. And I'd be the first one to tell you, like, no, there's no MSRP. Keep in mind that 143, that price is already built into like, small hobby shops, comic book shops, LGSs selling booster packs individually by the pack and then still having the price point there to sell an individual pack at like $4, $4.25. Like that price is built into that. So when you buy a booster box from these guys, you're just taking out all the work for them. But there was never a lot of money for these guys to really make money in booster boxes before. But I think as collectors and investors, there's a lot of huge opportunities. And now this is the dangerous thing. When I talk about big opportunities, who knows? And that's really what it boils down to it. Who knows? Because who knows if prices will continue the retrace on everything? And if prices continue the retrace, and what if there is never buying pressure? And I talked about this already in the video. I said, well, with buying pressure, eventually we'll eat up all this low price product, and then the market will have no other choice but to start moving up. But what happens if there is no buying pressure? What happens if the market just forever stays at this sub $80 for booster boxes? And I think if people want to have that conversation, I would say that it's a good conversation to have. I think you could, probably debate that pretty well, but it's crazy right now. And then when you think about brilliant stars and products like that coming out in the future, yeah, people are already hyped about it, but I think the problem with like Brilliant Stars is we're comparing Brilliant Stars a little bit too much with, VMAX Climax and how awesome that set is for a Japanese product. And I talked about it literally in the last stream. I'm not a huge Japanese collector, but when you look at the Japanese product for VMAX Climax versus like call it the counterpart or whatever, the English version, the English release at it's just not as good. And the reason why is because you got 100 character cards to like 30 character cards. Now, is it going to be a fun set? Is it going to be one of the better sets to ever be released? In my opinion, yes. But it's going to come with a lot of speculation and a lot of uncertainty with just the whole market as a whole. Now, if people are looking at this product and they're saying, I don't want to take any sort of chance on this booster box because I'm looking at what's happening with Evolving Skies and Fusion Strike and Battle Styles and Chill and Rain, and this doesn't look enticing at all. There could potentially be, a very Fusion Strike S type release where prices, right at release are around that $120 mark, and then they just day after day, week after week, continue to drop and drop and drop. So I think I think the market is going to teach us a lot. And I thought that there was nothing more the market can really teach us. And the reason I say that is because I was like, okay, we have now pretty much seen everything. And I was wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it. I was wrong. I thought the market had now shown us everything because I would have said, okay, after 2016, we saw a dip. This dip will probably be very similar to 2016. But the thing is they don't really relate. And no matter how hard you do your best and you try to make the comparisons, the demand and the collector and the amount of money that is in the hobby is so polarizingly different than 2016. And yes, you can find little bits and pieces of how it relates, but it's not the same. And I talk about Chill and Rain dropping or Crimson Invasion dropping really low. I probably should have talked about like Evolutions dropping really low too. And now the question is, well, look what happened with Evolutions. Evolutions did drop very similar to like around this $80 price point. And it was one of the cheaper booster boxes we've seen. But the only difference is like what happened with Evolutions in the long term. And then who knows, what is that going to mean for these booster boxes in the long term? Are we going to see a similar price trend? Are we ever going to see like the price explosion we saw with Evolutions, how it went up to like $1,000? No, that was the most dumbest thing that ever happened in the history of this hobby, in my opinion. That just made zero sense and never should have happened. But I want to know what some of your guys' thoughts are. And I do want to, read some of the chat and hopefully you guys ask some good questions. And I want to know your overall like feeling on the market. Do you think what we're seeing is the low end? Or do you think this is just the beginning, that we're going to continue seeing a drastic downturn? But if you guys have questions, I'm going to scroll up to the top of the chat. So I see a lot of familiar names in here as always. I always appreciate you guys joining. Anonymous Professor Oak, good to see you guys. Travels, Sheep Kane, Jonathan, good to see all you guys. I see SDC Collectibles, Australian Blastoids. Cheval's asked Australian Blastoids, do booster boxes get that low over in Australia? The lowest I've seen there is right around the $100 mark. And, that's something I didn't really talk about too, is while prices here in America are dropping, very quickly, and we're starting to see some real new lows for a lot of these products, prices and product is still much scarcer in other countries. Just, I don't think it's due to the amount of product Pokemon could produce at this point. I think it's really having to do a lot with just, shipping logistic issues. Now, if you guys saw today, at the time recording this video, there's now a UK Pokemon Center. So that'll be interesting. And I saw PTCG's radio's video about the Pokemon Center, and they don't just have the Celebrations Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs, which we also have right now on our Pokemon Center. They also have Evolving Skies boost or ETBs on their Pokemon Center. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we do see more Evolving Skies Pokemon Center ETBs, because I know a lot of people missed out on those, and I think that was probably the ETB, at least Pokemon exclusive ETB, that the most people missed out on. So, Tyler said, the vintage lot I won came in. It was a childhood binder. Ended up being all light play near mint. 12 hollows. Loved it. Good, Tyler. Glad to hear that. Pokemon Catcher 25 said, Pokemon is just not investable if you are serious. Yeah. I think Celebrations will be $2 a pack soon. Yeah, I think that you could see that as a realistic price, because you got to keep in mind now, Celebrations, we're looking at Celebration packs as the entire product, and it's not really the case. Any Celebration pack or product you buy doesn't just have Celebration packs in it. It also has some other booster packs from some other expansion from Sword and Shield, whether it is like, Vivid Voltage or Evolving Skies or a Chillin' Rain. There's other packs in that product. And at the very beginning, I think a lot of people were looking at Celebration products and just looking at those expansions as like free add-ons in a way. But yeah, I think it's very possible that Celebrations packs will be $2, but you got to keep in mind, Celebration packs are definitely weighable. So if they are weighable and you're going to start picking up $2 loose packs of Celebrations, like, be very mindful that that stuff is probably going to be weighed. So Professor Oak said, anyone buy anything cool this week? I got some stuff in the mail today. Professor Oak, I could show you. I got, so just today, literally today in the mail, I opened up product right before I started this stream. So I got Pokemon, so Skyridge, Reverse Hollow. It's Underground Lake near Mint 8. So you guys know I'm doing my best to complete my Reverse Hollow set for Skyridge. Reverse Hollow and non-hollow master set. And I'm finally starting to really go after the commons and uncommons that I don't have. The lowest I will go with these are 8s. Obviously, the highest is 10, but I'm probably going to end up doing a lot of those cards in 9, just because it's the cheaper price point, and especially for Reverse Hollow Skyridge commons, uncommons, they're very few and far between to pick up, Reverse Hollows at PSA 10 prices. They're like, just yesterday, I tried to pick up a Pillow Swine. I think it's number 42 or 43 or 41 in the set. It's whatever that Pillow Swine is in Reverse Hollow, and it's sold for like $140 for a Reverse Hollow common PSA 10. So when you try and this was at auction too. My max bid was 125. So, oh wait, I'm sorry. It sold for 125. My max bid was 105. So it's still sold at 20, and that was my high end. So just think about how hard some of those Reverse Hollows are to find. 2 more cards I got in the mail today. So I like these because they're sequential cert numbers, but it's a Jirachi, the Hollow from from Hidden Legends. So this is the Hollow form, and then this is the Jirachi, the reverse Hollow. So I got both the Hollow and the reverse Hollow in PSA 9. They were in a lot together, and two cards I didn't own graded. So I do have both these cards raw, and I actually think these cards are in one of the world decks too, because I want to say I have it in like 2006 world championship deck, or this is a 2004 card, so maybe it was a 2000. It was, I don't know. Sorry, it's one of those world championship decks. I think this Jirachi was in. But yeah, I got both these cards in Hollow and Reverse Hollow, both PSA 9s. I think they'll be pretty cool. Now, Hidden Legends is not a set I'm trying to complete a master set in anytime soon. I'm just adding cards here and there. So, and whenever I try to complete my master sets, I always first thing do is try to complete like the EX cards, then like so like this is a hollow in the set. So the next thing I do is then I try to complete the hollows, and then once I complete the hollows, then I go for the uncommons, rares, and just commons. And that's usually the most fun because that's when you learn the set the most, but they're also sometimes the hardest to find. And yeah, you can go on like TCG Player and buy the cards individually raw, but I don't like to buy on like a TCG Player when I have the expectations or the plans in the future to grade, because like a TCG Player, you can buy a near mint card and your chances of getting an 8 or 9 could sometimes be really tough. And I'm looking for like PSA 10 worthy cards. So, but yeah, so I did buy something cool, and both those packages came in the mail today. Professor Oak said I got a cool Neo Genesis Pikachu PSA 10 cheap. Nice, man. That's a fun card. You said Booyah said yeah. Roaring Skies after the booster after the reprint. Yeah, those booster boxes crashed hard, and I want to say at the peak before that reprint, they were selling for like $260 a booster box, which is really crazy, especially when those are released. Basic Trainer said back in 2015, when I would check out Modern, the cheapest would be $74.99. It'd be crazy to see anything lower than that. And yeah, that's why I said, and you got to keep in mind in 2015, the price points for these booster boxes people were paying were actually probably lower than they are right now. So that $74.99, even if people were only making $1 or $2, their price points to pick up that booster box at distributor were much lower than they are today in 2021. So if we do see booster boxes start to creep below that $74.99, like I'll be super excited, but who knows? I mean, we're $5 away on Chillin' Rain and Battle Styles right now. A Yveltal EX PSA 10 Pokemon Catcher bought. Nice. Pokemon Catcher credit. Real Pokemon collectors and investors have patient and diamond hands. Yeah, man. I don't know if it's it's definitely the patience, but I think when it comes to collectors is, you just, for investors, I think prices start to retrace and they say, oh, I'm never going to be able to recoup my investment. So I'm just going to cut my losses and sell out. Where the collectors, we kind of get a different thought process, and we're a little spoiled. Okay, prices are retracing, but now we're collectors. So what do we get to do? We get to add this to our collection and we get to enjoy it. And I think I'm sure I do it on this channel sometimes too, and it's probably not the right thing to do because I think the investability and collectability get merged too much on this channel. But when it comes to most collectibles and most things you collect that you're passionate about, it is very, very rare for you to buy something and have it just always go up in value. With Pokemon, we are definitely very spoiled that it has been that way for a long, long time now, that everything we bought just continued to gradually rise in price. But the true collectors, we're lucky. And I'm a strong believer, and I don't care if it's the most bearish of markets or the most bullish of markets. There is money to be made in every single market. But the only problem is you have to get in at cheap price points. Like there's a lot of graded cards that I have right now that are worth like $50, which $50 might not sound like a lot, but I spent $7 to have these cards graded, and my price point in some of these cards is like 25 cents. That means my price point for a break even for some of my graded cards is like $7.50, and they're right now selling at like $50. Like when you look at stuff like that, and I think that's probably the thing a lot of the newer collectors, investors have to take in mind. When you have to compete with people whose break even point is $7.50 and your break even point is say $40, if you're trying to flip a $40, graded card and make $50, you're in the long run, your competition is going to be really hard. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And shout out to Old School Pokemon. He just was on this channel couple weeks back. And I don't know if you guys checked out his channel. He got like a 1600 CGC graded card return. Got a ton of Shadowless 9.5s. And I'll tell you what, those Shadowless 9.5s, they're looking pretty enticing. So if those things are priced right, like you got to keep in mind, you're going to have to now compete with people like him who bought 40,000 commons and uncommons from King Pokemon, a couple years back. His price point for those cards is super low. So yeah, he's got, Charmeleon, Shadowless 9.5s. This last 1600 card grading, he spent like 720 a card. Those Shadowless 9.5 Charmeleons, his price point again is probably around that 25 cents a card. So you have to compete against like Old School Pokemon, whose price point is $7.50 for Shadowless 9.5s. Like, keep this stuff in the back of your mind. That's why you got to be a collector first and then an investor second. And they always wind up merging at the end, but just keep that stuff in mind, please. Monty, good to see you, man. So Monty is one of the longest, one of my most long time subscribers of this channel. I want to say Monty watched like some of my very first videos, and it is very likely that Monty is one of the first ever like 10 subscribers I had on this channel. So special shout out to you, Monty. I appreciate you sticking around this channel for all these months, a little over a year now. So uh Monty said Chillin' Rain for $79.99 or Shining Star V for 85. Oh, Monty, you know me, man. I'm gonna tell you buy English for 79.95 over Shining Star V at 85. I think Shining Star V is a great set though. But you get less packs and it's Japanese. So I mean, you ever think I'll be one of the last people who will be a strong holdout for Japanese cards, and just like at this point, out of spite, like I'll just be one of the last strongholds where people are just like, yeah, Japanese, Japanese, and I always be like, nah, and people always be like, this is why you can't trust this guy. He's always shilling English, hates Japanese. But then I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a twice baked Jake kind of thing where when he shilled full art trainer cards and was like, yeah, I don't like full art trainer cards. And a couple weeks later, he made a video. He's like, look at all the full art trainer cards I bought, and the full art trainer prices exploded. Maybe I'll do that with Japanese and be like, Japanese sucks. And then I'm like, hey guys, look at all these booster boxes in my arm. But no. Cheval said, Knowledge, the reason Fusion Strike didn't peak up at first like other sets is time. And yeah, Evolving Skies and Celebrations, yeah, top popular sets came out. So yeah, you're all right. Fusion Strike did come out in kind of like a perfect storm where everything else was released at pretty much the same exact time. And Cheval's very right when he says that, because when you think about leading up to Fusion Strike in the last couple set releases, when you look going all the way back to Champion's Path, to Vivid Voltage, to Shining Fates, to Battle Styles, to Chillin' Rain, to Evolving Skies, and everything in between, all those sets were released like, and nothing else was around it, meaning it was just you only had that one product being released at one time. It was not a flood of all these different products at once. So he is very right when he talks about Fusion Strike was kind of more in that perfect storm, and there was just a ton of products surrounding it. And yeah, it's a good point though. Let's see. At one point, so Tragedy said, at one point, people will stop selling at huge losses and just hold on to it. And I think that's true. But the question is, if you have huge losses, how long will those losses really take, before you are able to climb out of whatever happened? Let's see. Uh, Basic Trainer said, people got smarter and also burned out. No more money to throw at it with the excitement, and therefore scalpers, flippers have left. And I think that's good though. Scalpers, for the most part, have left with those, super premium products. Like I said, the UPCs. There are still scalpers out there. I'm hoping, this is fingers crossed, that some of those scalpers who botted Pokemon Center ETBs for celebrations, I hope those guys were not able to sell celebration ETBs before this next giant wave came out. I really hope that happens, because I hope that these scalpers really get burned who botted this stuff, because the botting, it hurt people like me who I don't use bots, and I'm just going to Pokemon Center trying to get like sometimes one or two of products. So I do hope those guys take huge financial losses, and call me a bad guy, I don't care. Pogan Fun said, it's not the product's not worth the current price, but there's so much stock and more coming. People aren't buying. If everything on the shelves was it, no more ever to come out, prices would rise. Yeah. Basic Trainer said, no one want modern. Yep. Let's see. I just Charizard. Yeah. Australian Blastoise said, guys, stop wasting your cupboard space with modern booster boxes. Swap it for some nice vintage slabs or vintage. And all right, Australian Blastoise, I'm going to agree with you that people shouldn't be going crazy on modern, but I've said it and I'll continue to say it. I'll probably never stop saying it. Pokemon is a combination of everything. If you want to go after vintage, semi-vintage, modern. I think you got to collect a little bit of everything, because really, if you are going to be a collector, one of the things you're going to probably want to do is open some packs. And I think modern is really what's going to give people that ability to open packs, because, Australian Blast. Oh, speaking of which, Australian Blastoise just got a really super nice Expedition blister pack with a Blastoise artwork on it. It's a super minty, super clean Expedition blister pack. It is a super nice pack, but you understand Australian Blastoise. Like, you can't just go out buying vintage packs to open for fun. And the pack opening experience is about as Pokemon as you get. So the only way you're really going to be able to fulfill that pack opening experience is modern. I just think what's happening is we need people to realize that modern, you just can't go all in willy-nilly crazy, with that whole rocket emoji type mindset and stonks to the moon kind of stuff where nothing's ever going to go down and you're invincible. It's not going to be like that. But I still think there is a big play for modern, and it's going to really be dependent on price points. And you know what? Videos like this might age really great. And in a couple years from now, we're like, man, look at these $79.95 Chillin' Rain booster pack prices. Like, we really messed up. We should have bought more of these. Or maybe in 5 years from now, we're going to say, well, my money's been sitting stagnant now in this $79.95 Chillin' Rain booster box because the price has not increased in the slightest. So there's definitely like that. And I think that's like the uncertainty, right? And I think that uncertainty is scaring away a lot of people. And I think, there are a few people, channels like mine, that are willing to like put our names out there and saying, I do believe that these prices are low. I do believe that these prices give people some good entry opportunities. And, these prices are enticing for me. Now, I think a lot of people are afraid to say that stuff. And I think they're doing what they should have been doing months ago when they weren't saying that, when they were shilling up products at 150, 160, 120, all these different prices for booster boxes and calling that stuff good investments then. I think they should have been more cautious about what they were doing. And I always tell you guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Like, keep in mind you're watching a channel about a guy talking about Pokemon, but I think I'm taking like a little bit of a leap of faith, and yeah, I'm looking at the history of products. The only difference is I do believe there's a lot more people in the hobby right now, and maybe this is just a lot of my bias coming through, and that could be a huge part of this is that I'm just crazy bias when it comes to Pokemon. And I'll be the first one to admit that. And I think anytime you're going to be a collector and investor, you need to look at your faults. And I think that is definitely one of my major faults is that I am way too, bullish on the long term, uptrend or trajectory, whatever you want to call it, a Pokemon. But then it's like, okay, what if I wasn't relatively bullish in the past? What if I wasn't relatively bullish on Pokemon a couple years ago? You know, how much worse would I have done in 2020, 2021 when it came to selling cards? Like, what if I had no supply? And I think that is the big thing we talk about too is in order to capitalize on good markets, you need to have a position in some of this stuff. But like Australian Blastoise said, you can't just go all in on modern. You have to be well diversified throughout the hobby. I talked about level X cards a few months back. Level X cards right now, that's like the new hot thing. Talked about gold stars before that. The market quickly moved to gold stars. One of the very first videos I ever made on this channel was talking about gold stars. We saw the market for gold stars, I'm not going to lie, a year ago was already very hot, but we saw that market really creep up more. Then a few months back, I said, listen, I think level X cards are going to be the next big thing. And look at what's happening with level X cards. The market has already started to move to that. And then you could start to keep going down the line and saying, okay, well, can I start looking at prime cards? Yeah, maybe. But what are the cards I'm thinking are going to be next? Is I think a lot of those EX series hollows. I think a lot of like cards like this, which people have already now bought the EXs of the set, and now they're moving to the hollows and the reverse hollows of, like these hidden legend Jirachis. 2004, like how much is a hidden legends pack right now? I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's probably a sealed hidden legends pack is probably like between 80 and $100, and I don't even know. But I bought both these cards for, less than the price of one sealed pack. And yeah, are there better high value cards in that set? Yeah. But I still believe the hollows, and again, the reverse hollows, which I prefer over the hollows for this set, because if you I this camera is not great, but if you like shine it around, all the background of the reverse hollow just has like all the different energy symbols, like grass, fire, leaf, lightning. They're just overall better cards, but it's about diversifying, guys. Diversify what you're buying, what you're collecting, and again, my bias coming through. I think you'll do good in the long term. Uh, so Australian Blastoise said, "Okay, I've been looking endlessly for your Poliwag PSA 10 Skyridge in reverse hollow. I'm assuming you have two. It's so that's a pop one in Australian Blastoise talking about the Poliwag reverse hollow from Skyridge. It's one of the commons I'm looking for, but it has a PSA 10 pop one. I think there's like, I have it in PSA 9. I think I've showed it on the channel before, but they're very hard to find in PSA 10. And I don't know who has it. And I have an open bounty for one. $200 for some random common reverse hollow from Skyridge. I don't think that card would probably sell for more, but that's my bounty. $200. Anybody has it? And that's a crazy thing too, right? Because I talk about sets like that, and I'm like, okay, here's the guy right now telling you he's willing to buy a common reverse hollow from you for $200. If you think those like more vintage sets, like your Expeditions, Aquapolis, Sky Ridges, if you think those sets don't have value, well, right now you have a guy offering you $200 for a PSA 10 reverse hollow common. Something to keep in mind. And now, but then the question is, well, how many people are out there like me willing to spend hundreds of dollars for reverse hollows? And I think a lot of that is for me to not have to look for that card anymore. Uh, you said Booyah said the reverse is sweet with the steel and psychic energy. Uh, will Pokemon toys ever be as valuable as cards? No, they will be valuable. I think Pokemon Center has proven that with like you can find some plushies on Pokemon Center selling for like $400 or $300, like some crazy amounts of money. But there would just never be as much of a collector base for those toys and plushies. There will always be a subsection of the hobby, especially when it comes to the non-TCG aspect of cards, very similar to how, like in the TCG, a lot of the trophy cards and the very low population stuff is worth a lot of money. When it comes to the non-Pokemon TCG or the non-trading card products, people are really looking for stuff that is extremely scarce. Like anytime you see stuff from like Pokemon Center New York, like things that were not even supposed to be sold, things that were just display pieces in the actual store themselves, things that are very rare in that sort of sense, there is a huge demand for products like that. When you think about crazy things like I know the big one people are looking for is like the Pokemon popsicle stick box. One of the things no one would ever keep sealed because popsicles are something you have to put in the freezer, keep cold. So like that boxes all got thrown out, but there is a super minute subset of people looking for like that product. And I know that thing is worth probably, and this is again a maybe because those things never sell, but probably people out there willing to pay like four figures for some of that stuff, like over $1,000 for an empty popsicle stick box. So, but it will never have like the price points or the demand that the TCG has. But there'll always be that subset. Yeah. Muffin said, I think Chillin' Rain at 80 shipped will give a solid return in 5 years. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Cheval said, old school Pokemon got lucky. He got a 9 grader, dodged the 8.5 crew. Yeah, we've all ran into the 8.5 crew. I've definitely ran into them before. Let's see. Oh boy. Sometimes when I'm like scrolling through the chat, guys, it just jumps all the way to the bottom and I have to go back and try to find my place. But it gets very hard. You're right. Pokemon should be treated as a collectible first and not an investment. If you're looking for an investment, put your money in an ETF. Pokemon is a hobby. Yeah, man. You want to go after electronic traded funds? Go ahead. Not investment advice, but if you're going to go after ETFs, make sure you understand what stocks are in that ETF and look at whatever like the admin fees are for some of those ETFs, because some of those ETFs could really beat you up hard if you don't understand like how much you're actually paying people to manage those funds. Yeah, ETFs. I'm not gonna. This is a Pokemon channel. I'm not gonna talk about ETFs, but I would love to talk about ETFs for a while and how you got to be very careful about things like those that are actively versus the passively traded funds. Big hidden fees, guys. Big hidden fees. Wonder what Gem Mint Pokemon price point is with every Pokemon card in PSA 10. Dude, Andrew, who knows? Gem Mint Pokemon, he definitely is willing to pay a premium in order to complete a lot of his collection goals. But the crazy thing is Gem Mint Pokemon, whether he knows it or not, has created a lot of the price points for a lot of those cards too. So it is possible that a lot of the price points he created are actually, a little bit too high for a lot of those cards. And maybe those cards wouldn't fetch the premium he wants. But the huge but to that, the majority and the bulk of his collection, he does not have to worry about that. There is only a small subset of cards that might not, have the returns back that he's hoping for. The rest of his collection, the price points he got in at, especially like, I mean, literally he has every single hollow more or less for every WotC set ever produced in PSA 10. His collection is fine. It's worth a lot of money. I mean, selling just his Charizard alone, he'll be fine. Yeah. Uh, Let's see. Australian Blastoise. Fusion Strike would have been a major popular set if it was released during the pandemic. Overall, it has much more valuable cards. Yeah, Mew's one of those funny cards, right? When you look at like a Fusion Strike opposed to other sets, and yeah, we beat it to the dead horse. It's like, well, everyone gets tired of Charizards in set, but Charizards are always the most expensive cards in set. And wasn't too long ago we saw the Charizard just in celebrations. Like literally, that is the most expensive card. Now, do I personally value the Umbreon more than the Charizard? Yes, but that's because I like the Umbreon more than the Charizard. But so there's a lot of Mew collectors out there. When you look at like the Unified Minds, which that set only came out a couple years ago, and the Mewtwo in that set is definitely like a very pricey card, and a lot of people like that card, but it still doesn't hold the huge premium that all these Charizards do. And I'm a huge Mew fan. I think if you're a Gen 1 fan, Mew number 151, like great character. It's like one of the very first Pokemon a lot of our generations were introduced to, especially with like Pokemon the first movie. He was the star of the show. Well, him and Mewtwo. So I think it has that like long history, and there'll always be collectors in it. Fun said thoughts on Cosmic Eclipse showing up in new tins: one Pokeball tin and two repacked Evolutions GX tins. So Fun, I know about the Pokeballs that were through like Costco or something. I don't know about the Evolutions GX tin. The GX tin is an older product, so it should have Cosmic Eclipse in it. Now, you got to keep in mind those EX tins came out in 2019. I know the Evolution GX tins that you're talking about originally had two team up packs in it. So I'm guessing now they have two Cosmic Eclipse. So all they did was replace the team ups for Cosmic Eclipse. And I know there was Ancient Origins in those tins, and I forget what the third pack was, but that doesn't surprise me. So, what actually I saw very recently, there's the Lucario knockout boxes. Now, I don't even know if you guys know what like knockout boxes are, and it's super, super, super funny that the knockout boxes had two Cosmic Eclipse packs in it. You could pick them up at Rite Aid. Like at the time of recording this video, like this week, knockout boxes were in Rite Aid. And now knockout boxes were released during the XY era. And I had actually talked to Australian Blastoise, of all people, about knockout boxes because he was asking me about uh, there's the Lugia and the Ho-Ho, their Heart Gold Soul Silver promo 1 and 2. He was asking me where those promos came from, and I couldn't remember what product they were, but I knew that they had the exact same name as a product that was released during the XY era, and it was that Lucario knockout box. So Heart Gold Soul Silver also had knockout boxes where that Lugia, Heart Gold Soul Silver promo 1 and the Ho Ho promo 2 were in those knockout boxes. And I just thought it was super like, what a random product to now show back up on shelves with two Cosmic Eclipse packs in it. So that is like a long winded answer, but I think it's amazing. Now, are those Cosmic Eclipse packs, are those true reprints? No, they're not true reprints. I think that's stock or some kind of repackaging deal. And yeah, I don't know why those products even happen. I know those knockout boxes had like a Lucario and a Tyranitar, but who knows? Basic Trainer said, I never want my hobby to become a hobby. My goal is to enjoy my collecting hobby for another decade or two. My hope is to get the money back if the value multiplies. That's awesome. Basic Trainer, I've seen a little bit of your collection already. I think you're going to be fine with that. So, especially if you bought I think you said you bought your base set booster box for like a $600 price point. I think that booster box alone, you're probably up, a decent amount of money. So, do you agree Pokemon ball tins should not be stuffed with Pokemon cards inside? It's just dumb for Pokemon to do. It is dumb. It damages the cards, but more importantly, the crazy thing about Pokemon balls or like the Pokeballs is that people keep buying more than one of them. I could understand, like, okay, they're cool. They're little metal tin balls. You get like a coin and you get 3 packs. They're fun to have one time and then never buy it again. But what I'm continuing to see happen, especially in 2020, 2021, is people buying like tons of these Pokemon Pokeballs. And not just to like have one of each, but to, I don't know. Trust me, guy, don't buy, if you're buying Pokemon balls to open to get 3 packs out of them, please don't do that. Please buy other products. Uh, let's see. Just pulled a gold training court and an alt art Mew from a 3 pack blister. Oh man, hey, congrats on the alt art Mew. Gold stars for those are hit or miss, but the Mew, I'm super pumped for you, man, especially out of 3 pack blister. Which 3 pack blister did you get? Did you get the one with Espeon promo, or did you get the one with the Eevee promo? I really like that Espeon Hollow in the 3 pack blisters for uh, Fusion Strike. I think they came out really well. uh, let's see. So Dr. Taz has been watching you since day one. Everything you're talking about has helped me out on my journey the whole way. Love you, bro. Hey, man, appreciate that, Dr. Taz. I really appreciate that a lot. I jumped on EX Gold Star as well. Everybody was collecting base. It's now I'm trying. It's nice. Appreciate everything, brother. Yeah, man. Hey, if you picked up some gold stars, that's awesome. What gold stars did you pick up? I'm definitely interested in that. Chew and Annie said Stink Siege, Rebel Trash, Fusion Strikeout, Cringe Invasion, all gonna be winners in the next 10 years. Ooh, that's a hot take, but I like it. Oh no. Sorry guys. Every time I scroll down, my chat just jumps. So I'm probably missing a lot of these. If I missed your question for any reason, just rewrite at the bottom. I'll try to get to it. Is it better to buy $200 in sealed modern product than spend $200 on one modern Pokemon card single? I would say it's up to you, but I would personally like $200 worth of sealed modern product to hold than one $200 modern single. I think for modern singles, you're playing Russian roulette. Like when I say you're playing Russian roulette, if you want to crack packs, get singles and sell them at like the height of single market for modern product, you can probably do really well in the very short term. But for a long-term play, a $200, single for modern, that is a super, super dangerous game. And especially it's even more dangerous because who knows what the graded single market will look like in the future. Because right now, for a lot of modern product, and a $200 card graded at $150 PSA price point, probably very few people doing that. So when prices for PSA do drop, and I know it, we talk about PSA prices dropping on every single video, and we never know when it's going to happen. But given enough time, if PSA really does ramp up the way they're saying they're going to ramp up, a $200 card, there'll be a lot of those graded in the future. So in the long term of that, I think it's way more risky than doing $200 of a sealed modern product, and that's my opinion. If you have a choice to get in a raw Charizard or a GMA 10 of that same Charizard, which would you choose? I get the same exact Charizard GMA 10. I get the GMA 10 all day. A raw card versus a GMA 10. I'd go GMA 10 all day and just crack that card in the future. I've graded cards with GMA in the past, and they are not as willy-nilly with grades as a lot of people say. And I literally, on this channel, you can go on and look up a video that says, and the title of this video was, this video might break the internet, because I cracked a Shadowless Red Cheeks Pikachu graded GMA 7.5, cross graded that same card to CGC and got an 8.5. So it went from a 7.5 to an 8.5 for CGC, and everyone says that CGC is the harsher grader. So, but when it comes to raw prices, yeah, If you can get a GMA 10 for the same price as Raw, personally, that would be a no-brainer. And if you want to just crack that slab in the future, resubmit it to PSA or probably not CGC. CGC doesn't give 10s at all. CGC 10s are rarer than all the legendary Pokemon that ever existed. You guys ever play like Ruby Sapphire and try to go catch some of like the legendary animals? You're always running through the woods looking for them. Notch says ETS versus ETBs. Yeah, that's funny. Is it better so if you have a choice? Oh, we read that one. What are some of the downside to invest in ETBs long term? Maybe I more mean what are some of the risks? So ETBs in the long term, and depends what ETBs you're talking about, but ETBs are definitely subjectable to reprints, whether people believe it or not. And I think a great example of ETBs being subjective to reprints, and you can go back to the beginning of Sun and Moon. We saw Sun and Moon ETBs be reprinted. Then, recently Mason from Cardinal Gaming made a video talking about how he got a very small restock of Guardian Rising ETBs. And you think, okay, they're going through the order. And I made a video in the past, a hypothetical of how can Pokemon drive demand? And it's by reprinting some of these older ETBs. So, yeah, does a team up ETB reprint seem out of reach? Does an Unbroken Bond, Celestial Storm, Cosmic Eclipse, do those ETB reprints feel out of the realm of impossible? Because a lot of people will say there's a lot more that goes into a print in an ETB than just a booster box is. You still have to do the card sleeves and the actual ETB box and the dice and the markers and all the stuff that goes in with it. But you can't say that it's impossible for this stuff to be reprinted, because that would just be like super dangerous. So when it comes to investing in ETBs, I think that can be like the true downturn, and especially for modern stuff. Yeah. Vivid Voltage ETBs with the Pikachu artwork, the orange background, the yellow Pikachu, like they're beautiful looking. ETBs opposed to a booster box display way nicer. But are you going to say that a Vivid Voltage ETB reprint is out of the realm of impossible? No way. Super recently at Walmart, there was a ton, and I tell you, there was a ton. I'm talking a legit ton of Sword and Shield base ETB reprints, and they weren't like just old stock. They were reprints, because if you look at the ETBs, the wrapping around them, the older ones versus the new ones, like the older ones had the Pokeball wrapping on it the same way you get like a booster box, like the Pokeballs that flake off. And the new reprint Sword and Shield base set ETBs just had the clear plastic cellophane wrap. So they were definitely very distinct reprints. And that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, you look at like, Darkness Ablaze ETBs and stuff like that. Yeah, the prices for those are, pretty high right now, but I do not think that those things are safe. And especially like Rebel Clash ETBs are not even, holding a premium right now. If we saw reprints of all this stuff, I think that's why those are super dangerous, to answer your question. So those are those are definitely the downsides of ETBs long term. When a set comes out, wait, buy your card. You want graded and sell it for max profit, then to buy an old card works fine. NFTs or ETBs? ETBs, NFTs. ETBs are a safe investment in the long run. No worries there. I literally just explained why there's worries there. You're gonna be on a Chloe Cosmic Eclipse opening? No, I don't ever buy into pack breakers openings, but yeah. I'm curious what's her price points for Cosmic Eclipse booster packs. I have knockout boxes, old ones with ancient origins. Yeah. Thanks, Pokemon Masters. Sup, boys? I wish I had a few knockout boxes, but I don't. Yeah. The old knockout boxes, the Heart Gold Soul Silver ones, your guess would be as good as mine. I have no clue what those things sell for, but they probably sell for a pretty lot. I'm gonna just go on a limb and say like probably like $600. Nah, that would be too high. Maybe like a $400 price point for some of those old heart gold, soul silver knockout boxes. Um, Chuck and Annie said I paid $200 for Evolution's Mega Charizard, not the full art. Did I overpay or just let it financially grow? I don't like any Evolutions cards at any price point. That's how I'll answer that question. uh, yeah, Pokemon Masters, I would have sold you one for 40. Yeah, overpaid. Yeah, I didn't want to like say anything mean, but I would not buy that. Uh, Dark Cosmos says CGC is great. Got 9 10s out of 10. Liar. Lies, lies. A lot of collectors were trying to scout people at last CollectorCon, knowing that what they paid was 1/10, if not less, for what. Yeah, I mean, our collector scalpers. That's a good conversation, and I don't know if I'm ready to tackle that. But I guess you can say a collector is a scalper, but like in more of a long term thing. But I always think of scalpers being definitely in it for the more short term. So I wouldn't really go that far out and call collectors scalpers. I think collectors are that's where like collectors maybe are more investors. And the reason why I say when you look at it, what a scalper is very short sighted. Like they're only looking at the day to day to maybe week to week, and a a lot of scalpers probably aren't even looking month to month. They're going to go in, buy product, and by the time they get home, that product is already listed on eBay or wherever they're selling it. Now, collectors and the investors, they have a very long term mindset. So when you buy a product and you have a 5 year timeline to 10-year timeline in your head, there's a ton of risk that comes with it, just like any stock. You know, you go back to the stock market and say, go back to like, I don't know, like the .com bubble in 2000. Yeah, the .com bubble, there was a lot of companies that crashed. What was the largest company out of the .com bubble in 2000? It was AOL. AOL ended up merging with Time Warner, and look at how all that stuff wound up. AOL, the largest provider of internet in the world, crashed and now is worth nothing. But at one point, they had 90% of all the internet traffic in the world. You can imagine putting 90% a price tag on 90% of all internet traffic today. It'd be like an imaginary huge number. But you look at, well, what came out of the .com bubble? You still have Google, Apple, Amazon. These companies still came out of that. When you have Amazon crashing down to $7 a share at the peak of the .com, crash and burn. And then now look at Amazon stock now. It's over $3,000 a share. So when you look at stuff like that, it's hard to say collectors are investors, because if they go into Pokemon with that same mindset that they're in it for the long term, there's always a ton of risk. And I've said it before, Pokemon, every single product will not perform exactly the same, like across the board. You're not going to see the same percent gains on every single product. Probably out of what we're seeing happen with 2021, there's a good chance that a lot of these products perform very poorly, perform very similar to like a Crimson Invasion or a Steam Siege or even an Evolutions, where you don't see price movement for years. Or maybe it plays out like a flash fire, where you got flash fire, XY set that continued to go up in price for the entire from the time it was released to the height of Pokemon. Even with the crash that's going on, like flash fire sets are still selling at a ton of money. So it's all about just picking up products, picking the right products, but then diversifying too. You know, People talk about like the S&P 500 and stuff. Guess what? S&P 500, the companies that go in and out of stuff like that change all the time. It's all about diversifying. You can probably pick one stock in the S&P 500 and lost a ton of money if you literally only bought that one stock. You have to buy everything. I don't know. Maybe that's not. See that I'm not an investment professional. I'm a geologist. Take everything what I'm saying with a huge grain of salt. Uh, yeah. So Cardboard Empire said Sun and Moon base set elite or ETBs available at distributors last week. I wonder when those things will stop being available at distributors. I wonder. And what a weird set for them to go back and reprint ETBs right off the rip with Sun and Moon base, unless they're doing exactly what I think they're doing. They're just going through the line. Sun and Moon, Guardian Horizon, all the way up till they finish at Cosmic Eclipse. If Pokemon reprinted XY evolutions now, low will booster boxes go down? I would say if Pokemon reprinted evolutions right now, I think booster boxes would probably hold strong at 175 or 150. I think if we saw a reprint of Evolutions booster boxes, I think like that 150 price point would actually be more likely than anything else. Do I expect if we saw a reprint of Evolution booster boxes, like just a normal size reprint, do I see them going to like the $80 price point? No. I think that there would be enough people out there that have entered the hobby and saw what Evolution booster boxes did, whether those prices were justified or not, which they were not. I think probably 150 would be where all those booster boxes would wind up. And it would be because of people like I talked about early in this channel, those guys with the huge distributors, those guys would make a lot of money. Eddie Braz KY, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah. Pokemon Menace, he's right. He said to make it in the hobby, patience is the ultimate key. And I think you're right. Patience is the ultimate key. But I think that's the thing that sometimes that's what people are lacking the most is they're just lacking that, basic patience and just calming down and saying, okay, you think about that meme where that dog's sitting in the room and the room's burning around him and he's like, everything is fine. Everything is fine. And I think it is a little bit of that meme sometimes, but it's definitely like the patience too. Everyone noticed the feeling of new cards is off. Opponent's feeling just feels different. What are your thoughts on card stock or paper, maybe supply issues? I haven't really noticed anything that like sticks out like crazy with the cards. Like if you guys have ever, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm probably not, but I'll give you all right. I'll give you like a what if scenario. So if you guys have ever understood card stock, so I'm going to do a video in the future where I'm going to submit a recolored card to CGC. But if you guys have ever seen like cards that are recolored, like you have to figure out like the layers of Pokemon cards and like how they're built. Like everyone just says Pokemon cards are 3 layers. There's like a white backing. There's the middle part which has like the 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 ink inside and then another white layer. It's not really true. There's actually like even more layers on Pokemon cards. So when somebody recolors a card, if they don't know how to recolor a card properly, when they go the recolor and touch up the corner, the side of the card, so like here's a card. So like in again, this is blurry, but you can't really see it, but like the side of the card right here is actually white. So when you recolor a card, if somebody does it improperly, like the ink is going to get on that white part of the side of the card. That's how you could easily spot like recolored cards because people are usually pretty bad at it. But there is like ways that people can recolor cards and not get the white on the side with like the recoloring. So I have noticed that the like newer cards are not any different as the older ones with like that same sort of like multi-layered card stock. So I don't think there is any difference from like modern cards of vintage cards. So I don't think it's really like a product line issue. Uh, let's see. I wonder if they have new Pokemon rules books with the Urshifu or Sun and Moon ones. Uh, let's see. I bought 50 Pokemon Celestial Storm three card packs from my Family Dollar. You will find any hidden treasures. Listen, if you picked up 3 pack Celestial Storm from your dollar store, I just weigh those babies out. Those packs are probably the easiest packs in the history of Pokemon, with the exception of like Pop Series packs, with the exception of Pop Series 5. Uh, Gold Star Umbreon, Gold Star Espeon, they are not weighable because they are not holo cards, but just like Pop Series packs were all weighable anytime they had a holo in it. Same thing with dollar store packs. Those 3 cards are definitely super weighable. So if you want to open them, nobody really wants like a lot of Celestial Storm bulk. So you could probably just weigh out those packs and then keep the sealed one for your sealed pack collection. That's what I would do. Uh, when you can loan for a house with your cards. Yeah. Invest in Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon sealed product. Yeah, I don't know enough about Yu-Gi-Oh to talk anything about it. Collectors versus scalpers. Uh, um, let's see. When you scalping implies it should be otherwise available. After a certain time, that becomes inherently untrue. And who wrote that? Yeah, Gump Brave wrote that. And you're right. Like it's just the given enough time, Pokemon is eventually going to put stuff out of print, and I think we forget that in the now that stuff just goes out of print. Everyone was hating the scalpers now and want them back to pump the prices. Yep. Chill Phil said, "I remember AOL disc for free. I remember getting the floppy disk in the mail too. The Blockbuster, yeah. Wonder if Pokemon opened a Pokemon's. I don't know. Is that? Oh, opened a casino in Las Vegas. Would be Pokermon. Oh, I see what you did there. Heyo. Um, Australian Blastoise said, Knowledge in hindsight, what has been the worst single card purchase you made of price fluctuations? Hmm. Single card purchase. I don't know. Uh, Nothing that really comes to the mind. Australian Blastoise, like a card that just had like crazy price fluctuations. Uh, I mean, my Raichu has definitely had some crazy price fluctuations. Like, I don't know if the sales were at the very peak of Pokemon, but there was a lot of, Shadowless First Edition PSA 10 selling for around $17,000. Now, I don't know if any of those prices were actually true or not. Obviously, those cards are not worth anything close to that. Well, maybe. I guess you can make an argument, if you could have a Charizard first edition card sell for 240 and, Blastoise and Venusaur cards at the peak of the market selling for, you know, it's hard to say, but I would definitely say maybe that card has had the biggest swing, but I also have a much lower price point than $17,000. So maybe that's a card, but that's the thing too, is that I wasn't following it every single day. So I don't really know the true up and down like volatility of cards like that. So, but yeah, if I missed any of your guys' questions that you asked, it's because I was just scrolling through the chat trying to read stuff. Do me a favor, rewrite it at the bottom of the chat. Pokemon Catcher said, Danny Phantom is also a very suspicious guy. Yeah, I can't speak on anybody like this. I know Pokemon Overflow went pretty hard after Danny Phantom for a while, and I don't know if that was justified or not, but I know it was crazy. Um, yeah, Pokemon Overflow also goes really hard at Gary King Pokemon. Like, definitely some real hard, hidden, in depth like journalism. Now, I think some of the things he says, some of really hot takes, and I don't know if they're all true all the time. I think sometimes he focuses on things that maybe are not true, or I think he ignores some facts once in a while, but overall, he definitely like puts up a very good argument on all this stuff, and his videos are very entertaining. And I don't think the truth. I think the truth for a lot of his videos lie somewhere in between. But I have nothing against the guy, and actually, if Pokemon Overflow ever wanted to just come on this channel and talk Pokemon, like I'd definitely be willing to have a guy like him on the channel. So, but I do. If Pokemon Overflow does come on, he'll probably do some background work on me. So I'll be the first one to let him know. In third grade, I cheated on a spelling test, so he would probably be able to dig up that information. So I'm just gonna get that out in the open right now, just so he knows. How do you think a global economic depression would affect the Pokemon card market? Was thinking about selling some of my collection now in case the economy goes sour in 2022. Yeah, man. That's I can't really give you advice on that. That's a personal question. I think anytime you're in a collectible asset like Pokemon, there's definitely like always a huge apparent risk that comes with stuff like this, and especially right now with the market and how it's. Listen, I had to flat out just say like Pokemon should not be your bread and butter investment. Like hopefully you're well more diversified outside of Pokemon, that if prices crash in Pokemon, like it shouldn't affect you. I think if there's a huge economic downturn, I think I personally would be more worried about like all my other investments, you know, whether it was 401ks or backdoor IRAs or mutual funds or brokerage accounts or individual stocks or, crypto or whatever. Like those are the things I'd be more worried about. And I think the last thing I'd be worried about would be Pokemon. Now, Pokemon should definitely be more of like a fun money type of investment strategy. So that's my answer to that. Uh, Chief Kane said Pokemon flow overflow so hard. Yeah. Um, what's the single biggest piece of misinformation you witness on YouTube during the pandemic? The biggest. Okay, so Australian. Let me read this question again for Australian Blast. I just said for the people that are rewatching this, maybe not read in the chat real time. So, what's the biggest piece of misinformation you witnessed on YouTube during the pandemic? I think the biggest piece of misinformation was not like one giant thing that was said. Sure, $30,000 first edition Bulbasaurs will be a meme that forever, but it's not going to be something like that. The biggest piece of misinformation that was continuously perpetrated throughout 2020, 2021 was pack breakers and hype channels constantly only quoting PSA 10 prices for cards. I think that was the biggest like piece of misinformation when you wrap in every single pack, every single card ever pulled, and only ever quoting PSA 10 prices. That is definitely the overall biggest piece of misinformation. And I mean, from watching that, like, sure, it's entertaining to see, like, what is the max value of a card like this. I think a lot of people have actually gotten much better at that. They're now starting to show PSA 9 prices and stuff like that. And I'm fine with people showing like PSA 9 prices, right when they open a pack. But, when people put in thumbnails like pull a $25,000 card and they pull it and there's tons of very obvious whitening issues or corner issues or print lines for a lot of this WotC stuff to just start instantly quoting PSA 10 prices. I think that was the biggest piece of misinformation because anybody coming into the hobby who had never graded a card and only understand that grading gets you your strongest value for cards, and they're buying in and going all willy-nilly into these pack breakers with that PSA 10 price in mind. And then as a pack breaker opens their pack, they're like, oh yeah, these all look like PSA 10s, but they're not. And anybody watching that video can identify that. But people who are in the breaks don't. That is definitely the biggest piece of misinformation that was really perpetrated throughout 2020 and still kind of continuing into 2021. I just think the overall hobby as a whole has gotten much smarter, and we are at a different level when it comes to that kind of stuff. But to answer your question on that one. Just think of the pre-COVID collector base versus the now. Let's speculate the future collector base, just how big the so so chill Phil, that's a great question. And I always try to speculate on what I think the future base is going to be. I think that there is a very normal trajectory that people are going to go at when it comes to entering the hobby for the first time, re-entering the hobby or whatever. There's going to be a very distinct time or like chain of events people are going to go through. I think when people get back into the hobby, the very first thing they do is go after whatever they know. So probably like whatever sets they opened as a kid. Then they move to modern. Then they start to move to the more like flashier, well-known vintage sets. Then they start moving into like the EX era, Diamond and Pearl, Level X, Primes, and then they'll just start moving in that sort of direction. So in the future, I think you'll just have like a collector base that is way more well-rounded than things we have really ever seen in the past. And the reason why I say the collector base will be more well-rounded is because when it came to modern product, collector bases were not well-rounded at all. For Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Platinum era stuff, people were not like well-rounded in sets like that. They were well-rounded in pretty much only WotC stuff. A lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of manpower was really devoted to that WotC stuff, you know, from base set all the way up to Skyridge. And then you would have a minority of that majority going after EX stuff. And then even a smaller minority going after the other stuff. I just think going further into the future, the collector base is just going to be well more rounded. Now, I could be totally wrong. And the reason why I say that is because when I talk to you guys, when, the 45 people right now that are tuned into this live stream, you guys are a very different sort of collector base. Like you guys, I've said it before, I still to this day have no clue how you were able to work your way through the YouTube rabbit hole to somehow make it to a channel like this. Anyways, like you already have to be very entrenched, very ingrained into the hobby to make it to a channel like this. So you're probably already like light years ahead of most people when it comes to collecting. But with that said, in the future, I think people like, people in this chat right now will be the people that make it out of, all the downturn, and they'll probably make it out way stronger than everybody else. And when hopefully, because I am bullish on Pokemon in the long term, when the next uptrend comes, whether it's a day, a week, a month, or years from now, whenever that time comes where, some sort of event or some sort of hype gets into the hobby and people flood back in, I think you guys will be positioned, you know, amazingly awesome if you stick with it. And I think that's where the collector base will change in the long term. But I think that's a good question. But who knows? I mean, or will there be like a subset of a subset of a subset that are people who are only continuing to go after Sword and Shield for years to come, continuing to complete master sets of some of these era cards? Like that's definitely a possibility too, because maybe these will be the sets that people get really into, like today's modern, and then the future modern they don't get into. Yeah, good question though. I was thinking the other, let's see, what did it say? He said, I was thinking the other day about how Pokemon has deep psychological influence. Japanese sets are always released before English with better quality and better pull rates. It tricks our minds. Yeah, I mean, Japanese, I don't like Japanese. I say it every video. But I'll admit, Japanese collectors are spoiled. They do. I mean, yeah, 5 card packs are a little different, with the exception of like, you know, celebrations or Dragon Vault or something like that, like a 5-card set. But Japanese people and Japanese collectors are always spoiled when it comes to Pokemon, especially when you look at promo cards. And I've said it so many times, Japanese promos are hands down better than English promos. Like it just is. Like, I think the only English promo we had that was a little bit better was the special delivery Pikachu, which was overvalued and a free card and went to the moon. But yeah, Japanese collectors are spoiled. Basic Trainer said 30K Bulbasaur was a good evaluation of what everyone says. Instead of buying Japanese, I read that. Brandon said, Poke Knowledge, hello from Denver. Hey, what's up, man? You a Broncos fan? Shout out to all the real ones. Chill Phil said, I concur, Poke Knowledge. It was your memes that brought me here. Yeah, maybe I'll have to go back and make some videos again and add some more memes. And I think, listen, I have definitely gotten more lazy, and just doing these lives are so much easier because I could just talk and hit end stream whenever I'm done, and it just processes on YouTube, and there it is. And then, you know, do these videos, get awkwardly close to the camera, as some people would like to say. People will flood back in and go. A lot of sports collectors got into the hobby and just assume it was the same print runs as Panini Prism. Yeah, I don't know all this, but if you guys like sports, so this would be the first time I announce it. So what is today's date? Today's date is December 9th. And on December 17th, which is a Friday, I'm going to have a former sports card executive on the channel. And he's going to talk about like the card market as a whole. He has some super, super valuable insights into like printing capabilities, printing facilities, like printer allotment, stuff like this. That just when he was talking about stuff like that, it just blew my mind because he's able to talk where we speculate about, how many printers are out there. And he talks about printers in other countries, and he talks about like all kinds of stuff. He has awesome stories about like, so like in sports cards, you can get like game used memorabilia and stuff like the cutouts of the jerseys and stuff that are built into the actual cards. He was able to give me like talk about like how that stuff is stored, the facilities that make those cards, like awesome insights. So that's going to be a fun conversation to have. But all right, guys, we managed to do this live stream for 1 hour 37 minutes. Listen, if you guys could do me one favor, it doesn't cost you anything, but if you could just hit the like button for this video, like through the YouTube algorithm and everything that goes on with that, it really, really helps out this channel a lot. And like, I don't ever ask you guys for anything. Like, all I ask you to do is just like and subscribe. But if you can like this video, like, that helps me out. It helps me out a really lot, especially like I said with that algorithm. But other than that, guys, I'll catch you on the next video.